join me in welcoming to the stage Michael Maximoff of Folderly. Michael, welcome.
All right, okay. Hey folks, it's been a long day, I know, so bear with me for another 20 minutes, okay? I'm trying to kind of shake things up and give a nice presentation, a lot of content, all right? The reason why Nathan asked me to do the keynote today is the nature of the reason why we started the SaaS company in the first place. So I started this agency called Balkans back in 2017. Now we are rated the #1 agency according to Clutch, D2, and all other ratings. We do this appointment setting, like lead generation appointment setting for businesses in 50 industries, and we already serviced hundreds of customers worldwide, right? And the Folderly product is the spin-off of the agency, but we didn't close the agency. So in a way, agency is the parent company that we currently operate and we grow, that have their own team and their own KPI. And the Folderly was the brainchild of the agency because we were not able to find the platform that could solve our problem, right? So what Folderly is this platform that helps you to get your emails out of spam. So a lot of marketers and salespeople or who are in sales and marketing knew that whenever you run a campaign, you subsequently end up in spam. And that's where we ran into when we were building the agency, and we had to solve that. So we built the product, right? And now the way we grow is that we essentially are building like an ecosystem of products where every product is a complementary to what the agency is doing, and all of them are servicing the same type of customers, thus increasing the LTV and all of the things, right? So we started the SaaS Folderly platform. So we've developed it for about a year, right? And these are the sort of like revenue metrics growth that we have for the SaaS. And we obviously didn't raise any money or etc. because we had the agency that can finance that, right? And I'm gonna talk in a minute about how we kind of packaged our team and what is the cap table, et cetera, right? So over the next 20 minutes, I'm gonna talk about the agency, the Folderly, and the cold emailing in general. Maybe give you some tips, folks, about how to send a nice cold email, right? So talking about the agency. So the first one, how we tested SaaS ideas on agency clients. So when we were growing the agency, right, and we've been growing or doubling every year, and these are the projection of how many clients we had per se, right? We were able to work with a lot of different industries, right? So, and because of that, we were able to collect the feedback out of those industries on what they need. So in a way, we were able to understand who from those industries have bigger problems with spam, right? For example, is it e-commerce, or is it computer software, or SaaS, or etc., right? And that helps us a lot to be able to understand what are the first industries that we're going to be marketing this to, right? And just going back a bit here, it also helped us a lot to be able to understand what industry are ready to pay more for our product. And also, using this, we were able to sell our first clients as the service, which I'm going to talk also in a minute. So the few things here, how we test the sales idea on the agency clients, right? So first one, we had, as I mentioned, clients from the different industries, right? The second one, our agency clients were the low-hanging fruit. So imagine this. We have this 100 clients that we work as an agency, we deliver the service, right? And we know these guys because we have an account managers assigned to them. We know how much money they spend on marketing, etc., how big their sales teams are. And we know that they are sending cold emails, right? And we know that they have a problem with spam. So the first thing we do is we go to them and we say, hey guys, we can solve this problem to your sales team, and this is how much money that's going to cost. So in a way, they don't necessarily even need to have a product for this to solve, right? They just need they have a problem, they want the problem to be solved. So in a way, we start making the first money out of being able to solve the problem and not offer the product. And that was a great sort of like experiment for us, because then we knew who was ready to pay us for the problem and how much money they were able to pay us. And I will actually go back to this, but just want to show you, this is one of these first clients that we had, and this is the email that we sent. So in a way, what we realized, we're like, okay, now we need to understand how we can package this. So the Folderly as a product was grown from a service. So what we did, we sell this audit. So we came into a client and we say, hey, we wanted to understand what your current sending reputation is and what the problems are. And there's an audit that's cost $2,000, which is obviously we just take it off. It's not the real number, right? So we can spend $500 on that. But that was the cost that we thought is fair to get that problem fixed, or at least to pinpoint the problem, right? So long story short, so you have the customer, they say sure, and then we determined that they had like 8 mailboxes that they had problems with. We market those mailboxes, and then we made this first 10 or so, $10 or ish $1,000 from that customer. And that's when we realized, so the customer is, for example, a marketing agency. They're sending a lot of cold emails. They had problems with spam, and they are ready to pay us for this. So this money went to financing our developer team, right? So it means that we already had some money to be able to, without even taking off the money of the agency, we're able to essentially to take those money and to be able to invest them into our engineering team, right? So I think that my point here is that very often, the great thing about the agency is that you have these great clients that you already work with, but very often the agencies, they still focus on delivering the best service, but they're not thinking about how they can actually productize their services, how they can sort of like solve the problem that they're solving with the service with the product. And while they already making money, how they can create products subsequently that these products will be marketed to the clients that don't necessarily use this agency services, right? So because we already have a relationship with these clients, selling them the software was an easy, like a no-brainer for us, right? So that's how we make the first sales. Then sell service, then create a product. That's what I said, right? So we created the service, which already solved the problem, and we start selling that service and start making money, and then we subsequently created the product. Then high cost of the service gets you easier to sell a product. So right now, if you go to Folderly website, you will see that software costs about $200 per seat, which is, for the SaaS, is a lot, right? And if you're a business that has 5-10 salespeople, then you will be spending $2,500 a month on this software alone, which is also a lot, right? Because that's another software that you pay for. However, if you already pay us $1,000 for the service or $15,000 for the service, right, and then we need to uptick you for another $400, $600 for that, then you will go for it, right? Because the total amount that you pay us every month is not significantly decreased, but the value that you receive from that is much higher. So in a way, when we start working on our pricing, we didn't just. One of the reasons why we went to the premium side of the pricing were because we knew that. Our pricing will be compared to our service prices, right? And that also help us to get that first much higher profit or profit margins to be able to, again, spend those money on the engineering, spend those money. Because, no one here, I think, doesn't want to play in the game when you have a low margin on any product, because then you cannot risk and you cannot make a mistake. Because if you have a low margin and you make a mistake, then it costs you a lot, and that's when a lot of people go to that, etc. And so I'm Eastern European, right? And we obviously cannot, like in our culture, in a way, we don't have a that general. So either you have money or you don't, because there's no like banks or institutions that would help you with your business. So in a way, if I have $100, then I can spend them. If I don't have them, then I don't have them, and then I don't spend them, right? So in a way, with that logic, we always were focusing on creating the products or the services with a very high margin. Obviously, we need to then deliver on the margin, and we need to have a much higher quality. But the point was that we never thought that we're not going to have enough money to, because if the customer ready to pay this amount for solving the problem, then it's already win for us, right? Selling the product to lost service deals. This one is cool. So when I show you this slide, when we have this Belkin's agency, we have Folderly, Leadsforce, and other, right? every company, every product has their own sales team, and we have different acquisition channels. The reason why we are marketing that as a different products, because then you can fight in every category, right? So in a way, Belkins is competing with some agencies, and it's a very straightforward value proposition, Folderly with other, LeadsForce, another product with other category, and all of those generate leads. And the great thing is that because it's one team and one company, right, we are able to sort of like utilize deal of each other to be able to sell to each one of them. So for example, if the Belkins agency been on the market for 5 years and we already have probably 5,000 or 6,000 lost deals in our pipeline, we are able to access those deals to sell the product, right? So in a way, it's decreased the acquisition cost for those. And then we can sort of like, and then because the same is the same ICP, right? The same ideal customer profile. So in a way, if the Belkins agency is catering their services to a small, mid-sized, or enterprise-type businesses, to sales and marketing leaders, then all our products and services that we develop should cater their value proposition to the same type of ICP. And in this way, we can use the lost deals or deals of other products to market them to each other, which creates a lot of additional traction during the beginning when you have a product, right? Because when you have a product, you need to get those first 10 users or 100 users, and that's how we know that whenever we create a new product, we are able to have a zero budget, but we are able to test it to understand whether it has a need or not, right? Delivering a service using a product as unique value proposition. This one is great because the way we were looking about our unique value proposition, and I started this appointment setting agency in 2017. You can imagine there was a lot of companies doing the same, and how I was different. Like, do I have a different messaging, better, etc. Right? So I was thinking with my partner about how we can create unique value proposition, and we focused on email as one of the channels, right? And when we were focusing on this channel, and we created Folderly, that was our unique selling point for our agency salespeople to be able to sell it, right? Because then other agencies are just agency delivering the service, and we are appointment setting agency focusing on email acquisition channel, utilizing our proprietary technology to be able to get you in front of the customer and close more appointments, which is great, right? So then so in a way, by creating SaaS product, I was able to increase my sales numbers for my agency, and because my agency numbers are higher and we can generate more leads and more customers, I'm able to upsell those customers with my product, which is like a circle, right? So the more products I create, the more I help that initial company, and then it's a circle, 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 right? So again, the point here is that and again, I think I was very lucky to be able to start in the service industry, because I was able to know how to make money and how to service customer, because in service industry, churn matters, and sometimes in one of your customer churn, then it leads to a layoff, etc., right? So we knew how to make sure that we can minimize the churn, and we knew that if I were to start in any other service business, I would still make sure that that service is delivered on a higher standard, that we can grow that service, but at the same time, I can create product to support those services. I'm gonna do that all over again, right? Another point, sell products by giving them better deal on service to get them hooked up, right? The same goes. So for example, I can sell the service, and I can give them my product as a complementary to help the service, right? And then use agency clients as initial product, which is like, as I said. So I showed you this. So this is the table. So when we started so I actually wanted to show you this first. So I mentioned this Belkins as an agency. It's a group. We have this back-end office that consists of admin, HR, recruitment, financial, and legal. And we have this product services that we market. And everyone have their own, obviously, team and the KPIs, etc., right? And the great thing is that I was able to get my first team on the SaaS of the agency to be able to build that product without actually financing it. And then after we've successfully launched it and we see the traction, then those folks, they were able to build the team within their verticals, and then those teams start working on Folderly separately. But I didn't sort of like, went and sort of like hired the team and build the product. So it was organic sort of like building from of the agency, right? So in terms of in terms of the cap table, right? So this is how the cap table looks for us. So we don't give away equity to anyone. So me and my partner, so the way it works is, we are purely performance-based and revenue-sharing based. So in a way, we believe that if we make money and split them together. So when I started agency, all the people that started with us and the C-level and generally everyone is like performance-based. So in our organization, everyone have their own individual salary spreadsheet that they can fill out their compensation themselves. So in a way, they have their base, they have their table with bonuses, etc. And then everyone is performance-based. So if you're a salesperson or like account manager or even like a developer, you can make more money out of your performance if the company performs better, right? Because so everything is very open. So because of that, everyone is super hyped for being efficient and show the better number, because the more money we make as the company, obviously the more money you can put in your own pocket, which is great. As a result, no one talks about stocks, etc., because everyone are in this, in this situation where every next year, the more you work, the higher your percentages, or the more company make, your salary grows, your bonuses grows, you're creating more value for yourself, for your family, etc., etc. And as a result, most of the people in the company, they are performance-based, right? And they make money of the KPIs that they make, of the company performance in general. There are some people that gets the profit sharing, right? Usually these are heads or C-level. And whenever we start a new product within this organization, then essentially, if that product is successful, like Folderly, then the person who built that product is able to get the revenue sharing from the whole company. So in a way, you are interested in building the great product, because then you can feed off all the other products that were successful. And everyone in the company interested in having as many successful products as we can, because everyone will be taking off money from all of these products. So it's a shared responsibility for the success of all the products and sharing resources. So all the marketing people, all the template writer, copywriters, designers, they care about each and every new product in the company to be successful, because that's going to lead to their success, right? The few things that we did, so bootstrapping performance, as I said, right? So it means that so the first thing that I did was when I started the company and I had, and had nothing in terms of the bank account, right? We build a P&L and we make sure that every money that came in from the customer are categorized. So I knew where we spent every dollar from the start of the company. And because of that, we knew that we knew how to efficiently spend money, right? So we wouldn't invest money to go to a trade show, because we knew that we can spend the same much of money, for example, buying some leads and sending some emails, and then we can generate more clients. So we can be efficiently spending this money in a different direction. Right? We always, and because right now everyone is performance-based and revenue sharing, they also think twice before spending money. So it means that whenever you set up a budget for a marketing leader, for example, $100,000 a month, they won't want to spend this $100,000 a month, because they knew that the more money they spend, the less money they get. So they would want to be smart about the money they spend. So if they spend, for example, $70,000, they would say, okay, well, I get my KPIs done for the lower amount of money, so now I can make more money of myself and the company, right? So we were, our clients came from the outbound, obviously, emails are the first clients, and we know how to market them. Agency gave us the first clients, and then these clients now are shared, and the new product that we are releasing, we're using agency as, as the sort of like donor area for the clients. Because email deliverability and spam is a new problem, we're currently working on creating a lot of content and educating users, and that help us to also grow in terms of the brand and marketing generally. And we also are able to set up new market benchmarks and KPI by doing a lot of study, as well as and then I'm going to share in a minute some numbers with you in terms of the average open rates, industry rates that we were able to collect, because we are able to service so many businesses and send so many emails, right? We're focusing a lot on the case studies and reviews. So I realized that obviously whenever you grow a business, having external testimonials is very important for the acquisition, right? So right now, because we have hundreds for the agency, for example. We have hundreds or, video testimonials, case studies, like external testimonial, all of them. Then our sales team are able just to send the links, and it's a no-brainer for the customer to know who is the best in the game, right? But for us to get to this point, we had to ask every customer, hey, can you leave this? We're having so much fun right now. There's so great results. Can you leave it? We need to. So we follow up every customer. We even have a KPI inside our team for our account manager to be able to collect this many reviews every month, because that's the only way you will do it gradually and you do it consistently every month and that help us to be the leaders. And then obviously the premium support, which I'm not going to be talking about, right? So this is the contract that is available on this drive that Nathan is giving away, that the example of the contract that we used to send to close service clients for the product. And then real quick, so talking about the cold emailing, right? Because I know I'm out of time. This is the way how the cold emailing, generally how the email works. So whenever you start sending out an email, you think like, oh, well, I have an email, I send it, the recipient either received it or not. But on the back end, under the hood, there are also things going on at the same time, right? So the most important things are the sender reputation, right? The setup, the content. And that would, so for example, when you see the screen, the first line is, right, whenever you send out an email, so the email, when it's sent to the recipient, it's automatically assign your settings, like the KIM settings and some others. So it's very important for whenever you send a cold email, make sure that your DNS records are set up correctly. Sorry. And very often, because we are using so many tools, we are engineering them, and that's why a lot of time we see for our customers that their DNS records are not set up correctly, and that harms their domain reputation, right? The next, what this, based on the process, what it does is that the spam filters, they check in your policies, and then based on that, they check the IP reputation and the blacklist, and then they check your content, and then on the third line, you see when they decide if all is good, then they bypass it. If something is wrong, then they quarantine it. And if something is really bad, then they reject it altogether. But if it's quarantined or rejected, then it harms your reputation. So in a way, the more bounced emails you have, the more people mark it as spam, or the more spam words you have in the content, that affects your reputation, and it stores in the databases of these spam filters. So in a way, subsequently in the future, whenever you're going to be sending the same emails, but maybe to a different group of people, the reputation of your campaign will be much lower because of the result of your previous campaigns, right? So, which is important. So this is the link to this document where we collected over 10 million emails that we were sending over the last 4 years to on the behalf of thousands of customers, and we were able to get the average open rate and average reply rate of the cold emailing. So you're able to access this document through this link, and you can see, for example, whenever you're planning your cold email campaign and you want to email e-learning, you can say, for example, where you need to be in terms of your email open rate and reply rate, right? And then the last one is 10 tips or 10 things you need to keep in mind whenever you run a campaign, all right? So first one, validate your prospect emails, right? That's very important. So there are a lot of tools. We recommend using Zero Bounce as a tool to do that. So make sure that all the emails are valid. We even don't recommend to using catch-all emails, just the valid emails, right? Reached out to the target audience to avoid spam flagging. So by target audience, I mean, it's better to be very targeted in terms of who you email to. So don't just buy a database and just send a blast. Be very targeted in terms of who and how you send an emails to. So it's better to spend more money on this very nice targeted 100 or 500 leads and get the result out of them than blasting 5,000 emails and getting a 0.5% open rate, right? As I mentioned, set up your DNS correctly. You can use our platform for that. Create engaging content, subject line matters. So the way, so the idea is that the more open rate, reply rates, and engagement rates you have for your emails, the better your reputation is, and the higher your reputation is, it means that generally you're going to have more open rates. So it means that if you have a very low engagement rate, then you need to work on that because by having higher, you're gonna set up yourself for success. Average sequence of emails, 5-6 follow-ups, adhere to the natural mailbox limit. So the setup matters. So for example, our perfect setup for the cold emailing is Google as the ESP and tool like reply.io or outreach.io as the engagement platform to sending out emails. And when I'm using Google as an ESP, one mailbox has a natural limit of under 250 emails per day that can be sent with a delay about 200 seconds between emails. So it means that I can send only 200 because if I send more, then it harms my reputation. And I really wanted those 60-70% open rates, right? Personalization is the key. Show me, you know me, right? So personalize your outreach, as previous speakers were talking, right? Always A/B test, of course. Different industries, different ICPs, different templates, right? Never use personal emails, right? So we never email to anyone with like a Gmail and Yahoo and others. Use only corporate mailboxes because in a way, I can probably, for example, my mailbox is michael@belkins.io, right? Which is like, I think 50% of the people have the mailboxes with their name and the domain name. So I can find it basically just by Googling, right? So, which is fine. And then don't be afraid to mix the other channels to your outreach to drive the best results. So obviously I didn't have time to explain our omnichannel approach to marketing, but we are doing a lot of those things. But the idea is that even though we are email focused, we still invest a lot into different channels to mix them up and to be able to create the customer more holistic approach to their buying journey, right? So really focusing on all the channels. So if you're not using all the channels, then you should start using them. Obviously some more heavily, some less heavily, but at the end of the day, it's about being everywhere and hitting as many doors as you can. Oh, thank you very much.